Jessie from the Scrappy Sisters. So for this layout, I am using what would, I suppose, technically be called the wastage of a cut file. So it is from the Confessions of a Paper Addict Etsy shop, and it is the brick wall cut file. I cut it for my aunt and sent her the actual cut file part, like the thin outliney part that you would back. But instead of throwing away all of this sort of excess, I thought it would be perfect to actually continue making a layout for. I have another one coming up using the stars as well, and that will go the Ballywhacker video that I have from April. I think it was in April's month. I'm going to use again what would technically be the wastage of that for another layout as well. So you'll sort of get a bit of an idea of how I can use both sides of a cut file. So I am backing it on this sort of maroon brick colored cardstock, and I'm then going to get all the bricks that you can see piled over to my right and lay those down, filling in all the gaps. Now, I probably could have left some out, but I didn't. I used them all these things you think of in hindsight, but I'm really happy with the way it turned out. So I'm just going to map my photos on a few bits of Pink Fresh paper. I can't remember what this collection is called, I apologize, but it's the Pink Fresh Studios collection, and I'm just using I've got plain white paper that I've matted the photos with, then that beautiful green that you could see, and then this nice sort of bluey floral paper, and you can barely see it, you can't really tell what it is, but just gives a nice little pop of color through behind the photo. So as you can see there, the bricks are going to fit in beautifully along the brick wall. I'm just popping down my photos. I don't usually stick them down this early and this quickly, but I wanted to have them in the right spot so that I could see which bricks off the brick wall I wanted to put up on foam tape, and which bricks off the brick wall I just wanted to sit directly on the paper. And as I said, hindsight's a beautiful thing. Now that I'm looking at it from this over-the-top angle, I feel like I probably should have left some of the bricks off the wall and left some spaces, but I didn't do that. The layout still looks super gorgeous at the end, so that's totally fine, and I know now for next time another idea of what I can do. So I am sticking a few up with foam tape, certainly not 50-50. Just here and there, just to add a little bit of dimension to the paper and to give a little bit of something eye-catching, and it'll also be a little bit of a landing base for some of my embellishments. It kind of just gives me a jumping off point for where those embellishments can go. Now, I'm not going to make you sit here and watch me literally pave an entire brick wall. I'm just giving you the basic idea here, using my white Monte, M-O-N-T-E, white glue, white craft glue, just a PVA really, and it's a wet glue, but it dries relatively quickly. I haven't had any problems with it, and it's held everything I've tried so far. And I'm back. And so all the brick wall is done. As I said, some of them are popped up on foam, some of them are not. That's why they look a bit wonky. It's not actually specifically that they're wonky, it's just that they're popped up. So I'm just having a fiddle. To be honest, at this stage of the game, I've really got no clue where I'm going. I like the saying on that piece of paper. I really like the saying on this, so happy we're here, both of those. I think that random fruit bowl does not go. I think that random hanging cups do not go. Yeah, having a little bit of trouble here. I really like the music notes, but more not because this layout has anything to do with music, but more just because Katie and I are musical, so, you know, our babies, that looks good. Then I start to see these pot plants, and I pop those on that little section of the wall, and I think, oh, that looks cute, and then I find that there's more and there's more and there's more, and there are so many vases in this collection that I end up plopping them on every single ledge that I have made with the foam. So pretty much everywhere that I am putting these vases of paper is where I had some foam dots behind the brick walls. So as I said earlier, it's like the jumping off point for where all of my embellishments are going to go. So I'm just having a play here with how to use those. I want just above, I try to think how to explain where it is, just above both the boys' heads, there's some foam there as well. So I know I want another embellishment up there, but I've run out of the vases. So I'm just trying to have a play with what else I can put on to sort of stretch it out a bit. I really like that gold flower that I've put to the right of the photo, but it doesn't really match. It doesn't really go with what's happening. And I really like that saying one of a kind, except there are two of them. So in my brain, I'm wondering if I could maybe get thickers and put across the word one and write two of a kind. But then I feel like that doesn't really make sense. So I'm just sort of umming and ahhing about that. So I pull all of that off because I'm not happy with that. But I keep all of the flowers and the vases on because I am happy with those. I really like the way they're looking. And I'm basically 100% positive that they're going to stay where they are and the way I've done that. I think about these mugs hanging off the hooks there and go, I'm not going to use those in the way that they've been designed. So I cut those out and add those to the brick walls as well. I did also fussy cut a few little flowers to come sticking out of the mugs, but I decided later that they just look really tacky. They don't look like they should be there, so they come away. I won't keep those there. I found this one super cute sentiment that said, love grows here, maybe? Something about growing anyway. I'm like, oh, that is definitely going on because, that's kind of what the wall is all about. And then in the end, I decide I'm going to use all of the tiny word phrases and put one on every single embellishment cluster that I've got. And then I find these super cute little love hearts. I'm going to put one of those on every single cluster that I've got. So I'm just trying to spread the colour. I'm trying to spread the colour that's on the tiny word phrase, the colour that's, in the flowers in the vase, and the colour that's in the love heart, just so there's a bit of an even distribution in each little pack there. I really wanted that texture notepaper edge, so I decided I'd just cut it off and put that in so I'm not wasting the sentiment off the rest of those big embellishment clusters. I love that writing suite, so I definitely wanted to use that. And then on these white thickers, I still wanted foam, so they kind of matched, and I wanted something simple that wasn't going to draw away from the beautiful script of the word sweet. And I'm just writing the word boys. So I've got very little letters left, so I'm just cutting this Q into an O, so that's easy to do. And I'm going to cut the X into a Y, which is also really easy to do with the design of these thickers, so that worked really well. Now, I had no intention of leaving the word boys in white. In my brain, I was going to get my Sharpie and colour it in black so that sweet boys was in black. But the more I sat there getting these thickers ready, the more I thought black didn't go. There's nothing else black on this page whatsoever. And so what that to me was doing was making the title like glaringly jump off the page. Now that's totally fine, but in my case, the title wasn't my focal point. The photo and the brick wall was my focal point. So I didn't want that to be so striking on the page by being in black. So I decided I'm going to emboss them using embossing powder. So I get out my embossing glue pen, which I love. I have used this thing so much. And I just colour in the top of my letters. So I just show you how I do the initial part of the word boys, and then you get the idea. Now my tip as well is don't do one letter at a time, because the embossing powder does stick to the foam a little bit even without any glue on there. it won't dry that quickly. Colour all of your letters first, like I've done now, and then you'll be fine. See, all the embossing powder's still stuck there, and I've just got that little dodgy bit that I hadn't put glue on yet. So fixed all that up. I went and heat embossed that. I also did the word sweet, so I embossed them both. I embossed them twice. I don't show you the whole process, but after that had been run through the heat gun, I then just put the embossing pen over the top of it again, put more powder on top, and ran that through the heat gun for a second time. So I embossed it twice. So both words have been embossed twice. And you can definitely see that they're a little bit different. You can see that the word boys has got like the white outer edge, like underneath the thicker, and you can see that the word sweet is black, but I quite like that they're a little bit different. The word boys also shriveled just a tiny bit, so don't apply like too much direct heat, if that makes sense. Just watch it. As soon as your embossing powder has turned, has heated, has melted, pull it off. Don't like keep going over it and over it and over it and over it unnecessarily, because I did find that made my letters shrivel just a tiny bit by applying just a little bit too much heat. You'd be better off doing a light coverage and doing it 3 times than holding your hot gun over the foam for longer. Now, obviously, by holding the foam, you've probably melted a bit of the glue off the back of those letters, and I did apply those with my PVA glue again, my white glue again, when it came to sticking them to the page. So, as you saw, I'd already planned out where I wanted all of those embellishments to go. So now I'm in the process of just gluing those down. I didn't really move my layout when I was doing the embossing, so I was just blowing off some of the excess powder that's popped onto the page there. I don't need that whole ephemera piece. I know I'm only putting half under the photo, so I just cut it in half and I'll save the other half for another one. This took me a really long time to be comfortable with cutting my ephemera. I used to really struggle with it. If I wasn't going to use the piece in its entirety, I felt like I couldn't use it. But then I ended up with all these, sort of big pieces and hard to use pieces that would just get wasted. So now if I need it different or changed or whatever, I cut it, I go for it. I've changed so much in my scrapbooking over the years. It's amazing. So you can see there I've put the glue on top of that word sweet. It's just, as I said, because of the heat, it just shriveled just a tiny, tiny, tiny bit. This word sweet, barely at all. Just that one little letter had a little pokey up bit that I couldn't get to touch the page. So I just popped the glue on top while I was fiddling around with the other bits and bobs, and that was enough just to get the word sweet to stick down, no problems. And I will show you at the end how they've stuck, and they're totally fine, so don't let that put you off giving this a go if you want to. I find modifying my thickers is a really great way for me to use more of them. I don't have that many thickers. My collection is growing a little bit, but I don't have that many thickers, and so I find being able to change them is definitely making them more user-friendly for me. Especially, I find that I buy thickers when they go on sale for like $5. And of course, the ones that go on sale for $5 are usually for a reason. They're like the hard-to-use ones and the ones that have been, really, really patterned or something like that. I find those ones, then I don't even use them. I bought them for $5 and they're too hard to use. But if I colour them in black with my Sharpie, or if I emboss them, and I've got quite a few different embossing powders. I've got black, I've got gold, I've got white, I've got copper, then I will use them. So don't let that stop you. I've done it with chipboard, I've done it with foam. Totally give it a go. Now, the word boys, as I said, got a little bit more shriveled and it needs a weight on it. But I put the glue on it and they went, no, you need that. You're using the glue to stick down the rest of your ephemera, silly. So I just put my water bottle on top there, and I'm going to keep sticking away with the last little bits and bobs on the page. So the layout has really not changed from how you saw it when I originally planned it out. I do that a lot. I'm sure lots of people do. I'm sure most people do. But I cannot just stick anything straight on my page. I have to check first. And then 99% of the time I have to send a photo to my sister to make sure she likes it first. So these, I fussy cut off some different ephemera. I felt like the mugs needed something in them, but then I decided it looked tacky and I didn't like it. In that navy blue mug, it looks okay. It doesn't look bad. But I didn't like it in the mug down there where I'm fiddling now. So they've just been swiped off to the side. And I just decided, nah, you know what? I'm going to pass on that. That's not working for me. So, yeah, moving on. So I'm sticking on these last little bits. Getting the gold Hardy Shine. I'm going to cry when I've run out of that. No, I'm not. In my advent calendar, I got new colour. It's totally fine. Got the silver and the gold, and I really like that one. So, no crying necessary. So I'm just flicking the gold around where the little clusters are. This is it's almost like a sticker sneeze layout, this one. This is a totally random layout with stuff just everywhere. But I think it works. I don't think it looks too random and like I've literally put stuff everywhere. I think it's okay. So this is the next day. I actually, I wasn't 100% happy with the layout, so I stopped, as we do. And I put my sticky tape dispenser on top of the word boys and left it overnight to weigh down the word and just give my brain something to think on. And I couldn't decide how to not fix the layout. I felt the layout needed more. I felt it was really flat. I felt it needed lifting. So I got my navy colour shine. I found a few more of these love hearts, so I'm just adding those on. I don't know how I missed them. But I think in hindsight, I probably should have done some mixed media onto the brick wall before starting all the embellishments and the photos, or maybe even left some of the bricks off the wall. But anyway, hindsight's a wonderful thing. I am happy with the way it looks. You can see there that the letters are all stuck down fine, no drama at all. But as I said, I did leave them overnight. See, totally stuck. Awesome. I've got some close-up photos coming up. So, yeah, just think about that when you're cutting out your cut files. Can you use the negative and the positive side of your cut file? Maybe. Don't just throw the waste away straight away if you don't need to, I guess is my tip there. You could have 2 layouts in one if you're not careful, or if you are careful, if you're lucky. So hopefully you liked this layout. Hopefully it inspired you to give something a go that you might not have done before, and embossing your thickers maybe, who knows. Please stay tuned for more videos coming up. Please like and subscribe, and I will catch you again soon.